The system.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages. You guys don't know what I'm seeing right now because I'm seeing peeps go ahead and smile as my mic is actually working today. But look, the fact of the matter is that welcome to season 7, episode 11 of the one, the only Saturday afternoon's main event. If you do not know who I am, dumb, stupid, blind, or plain irrelevant, I suggest you look at the name right there. It is I, the Phenomenal One, and here today on Same, I'm not alone because, of course, I'm joined by my co-host, the limousine riding, jet flying, kiss stealing, wheeling dealing, son of a gun, who was not having a hard time holding his alligators down. So, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, give me 2 claps and a peeps Nate.
Woo! Yes, we are here. Oh man, I tell you, I don't think anything really happened this week or this weekend. It was just a really light, boring wrestling week. You know, nothing happened, no major craziness. Everything was just fine and sanguine and calm, and everything was just fine. Who am I kidding? I can't even say that with a straight face. Oh boy, what a week!
Good lord, good lord. People in different companies have won championships.
Yes.
We have 3 new champions in 3 different promotions, peeps.
Yes.
Actually, yeah. I mean, like, have mercy. I mean,
yes.
Woo.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. WWE's done well. Ring of Honor's done well. We also had IWGP do well. All title changes, and we're going to talk about all of that stuff today. Woo.
Yes. And we're also going to go ahead and talk about Brawling. Yeah, You know what? I digress. First one of the day, and we have
that should tell you.
Crash course.
That should tell you. Blue pen.
There we go.
Yellow pen.
Yup.
Marker. That should tell you where we're going right now.
Peeps has everything on deck today, man.
Everything is on deck, and I'm telling you right now, no one is going to leave unscathed because it's going to be one of those kinds of shows. So stay tuned if you're ready to hear a couple of rants and some good opinions, some good energy. You've come to the right place. Woo! As the great superstar would say, have mercy.
Exactly right. So look, guys, with that being said, we appreciate you guys going ahead and watching us on Twitch or YouTube. But you know what? It's a side note because today we're not on Twitter today. We're on our Instagram live page. So shout out to everybody who's out there going ahead and going crazy in the comment section on there. We appreciate it. Love y'all. Of course, 1.8 thousand followers, I think, peeps. So it's like pretty much I'm loving it. You know, everybody is literally going ahead and tuning in on there because I guess it's much more accessible and easier for them. But look, the fact of the matter is this. We appreciate you guys. We thank you for the support, the love, it all. Like, honestly, we love you guys. But with that, here on Same, we're due to give you guys laughs, good times, and all the wrestling news possible. So, peeps, I think it's about time that we do that, right?
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay, so guys, you know, the minute you hear this sound, it's time for one thing, and one thing only. Ladies and gentlemen, it is time for Wrestling Crash Course. So, peeps, I guess it's time to fire it up, right?
Yes, let's do it.
Okay, first and foremost, the first order of business. Ladies and gentlemen, in the world of WWE, we have a new, undisputed, universal heavyweight champion of the world. His name is Stardust. Like, peeps, I digress. I can't do that. I can't do this.
You put the hands up too.
I can't even go ahead and get up to do a cartwheel. So I mean, I'll stick to the hand gesture. But jokes aside, ladies and gentlemen, Cody Rhodes has finished the story. Ladies and gentlemen, after a good 2 years since coming back to the company, which he started it all in. Well, aside from OVW, which was a WWE territory. But, you know, I'll leave it at that.
Yeah.
Cody Rhodes has achieved a lifelong dream that his family was alluded to their whole life.
Yes.
Dusty couldn't do it. Dustin couldn't do it. But guess what, ladies and gentlemen? Cody Rhodes did it. On WrestleMania Night 2 in a Bloodline Rules match with the help of John Cena, Jey Uso, Seth Rollins, and of course, my guy, the dead man, the Phenom himself, The Undertaker, Cody Rhodes, put Roman Reigns in 3 crossroads, had the ref count to 3, and became the new champion. Peeps.
Yes.
Of course, now that means we are officially in the new era.
Yes.
Of course, the Renaissance era is kicked off. We've seen Cody twice on SmackDown and, of course, on Raw. But, of course, I've alluded to this a good couple of times within the week. it seems as if Cody's picking up heelish antics, right?
I wouldn't say picking up heelish antics. I just think it's part of his facial expressions. He's
You think?
starting to show a little more confidence. I think he's a little more battle tested. And I think now that what they've done, without going too far into everything yet, it seems to me that Cody has hit his stride as far as what his character is going to be. He has now kind of crafted his character over from AEW and then kind of taken off some layers and added some more of that battle tested WWE look to him. He's also shown for a lot of the wrestling fans out there that not only is he not going to take a lot of guff per se, but also he's shown that the fans have seen a part of him that shows that he is not a pushover. His character is not stupid. He has been carefully crafting this character and evolving it over the last year or so and tweaking certain things and getting it to where it should be, to the extent that now he is legitimately the face of WWE, both on an in-ring standpoint and also from an ambassador standpoint. He's going to be the guy that's going to do the interviews. He's basically going to be the ambassador of WWE. One of those things that we used to see in the territory era of the Ric Flairs and the Harley races, where they would win the belt and they would travel and they would go to other shows, show what they were going to do, come in a three-piece suit, do an interview, go to doing maybe a radio interview or doing a newspaper interview, being on television like Cody did. He went in the media route and went hard. He was on the Today Show. He was on the Tonight Show. He was on all of these different media streams, media places, to show why they put the trust in them that they did based on what he is. And he's basically evolved into what he is right now.
Say no more. Say no more. Well, look, congratulations to our new WWE champion. Of course, we are destined to see what will be happening within the next couple of months. Of course, Backlash is May 4th. We're hoping to see an AJ Styles versus Cody Rhodes dream match that we've been wanting to see for a long time. That, for me, will go ahead and be a haymaker. But, of course, within all that, we have other world champions, peeps. Mox is the new IWGP heavyweight champion.
Yes.
And Mark Briscoe is the new Ring of Honor world champion.
Yes.
Of course, at New Japan Pro Wrestling's Windy City last night, Moxley captured the heavyweight title in New Japan. And at Supercard of Honor last week, prior to, of course, Stand and Deliver, Mark Briscoe defeated Eddie Kingston to be the new Ring of Honor world champion.
Yes.
Peeps, look, I, for one, I needed to see the Briscoe one. That, for me, was set in stone that, look, you know what? His brother passed. It's only fair. He's been trying to go ahead and continue to put in work and a passion that exudes Ring of Honor, and it's only right that he becomes the face of that title currently. And by defeating Eddie Kingston, what do we see for Eddie within the next couple of months?
Well, right now, I think Eddie is probably going to be doing what he was doing even before he had all of these championships, is basically craft his character of what they would normally be doing, making sure that in ring, he can continue to show to the fans that character, but at the same time, he's also been an ambassador, mostly between New Japan and AEW and Ring of Honor. And we know that at some point when we get to Forbidden Door, which we all know has always been that joint pay-per-view between New Japan and AEW, the fact that all of those will incorporate themselves into that one show, into that one shot, showing the different characters of different people that are there, all within that small amount of space, is going to show that those companies are looking to evolve their product and their portfolio. Eddie Kingston, I think, did a really good job as Ring of Honor champion, the Triple Crown, Continental Crown champion with Ring of Honor and the Strong Championship, and then he's been so good as an ambassador based on what he's done. And then we see Mark Briscoe, who we all know deserved this more so than anybody. It wasn't a charity case championship transition. This was something that was needed. And I think that's where we're at right now. As far as Moxley goes and the IWGP Championship, that I think is more to incorporate toward Forbidden Door. Because the reason why Moxley hasn't really been on television, he's been in CMLL and he's been wrestling in New Japan. So I think that's where that goes. So you have kind of a juxtaposition, one as a reward for what he deserved to have done, and then one was to try and build something going into Forbidden Door, which is, I believe, is going to be in June. So we'll see what they do there.
Definitely so. Definitely so. But with Mox, what does this mean for Jon Moxley, of course? Has won every single championship in every single respective company. Every single world championship. He's the first person to go ahead and end up doing it.
Yes.
What are we saying to this, peeps?
I know Jim Cornette isn't saying a whole lot about it, that's for sure. But I digress. There you go.
Definitely so.
I think Moxley is a commodity, maybe, and not as much in the States, but overseas in Japan and in Mexico, the fans really take to Moxley. His style that he has, he's brought that violent, strong style, that King's Road logger match style with him. And the fact that he also is one of these hardcore, give you those kinds of extreme kinds of matches, which a lot of people like and a lot of other people think is disgusting, depending on what side of the fence you sit in the grand scheme of professional wrestling. Wherever you sit, Moxley has had a really good career. And I think it came full circle with him winning the IWGP Championship. Tetsuya Naito was a very good champ, had it for quite some time. Was the transition after Okada and after the Jay Whites of the world kind of left to go to AEW. Now we know what's going to happen. I don't think it's going to be a long-term title reign, but I think that it's something that Moxley has kind of shown he's going to be a stalwart for both companies over the next couple of months.
Yes, I definitely agree on that. Corey Richmond, who's on IG, of course, our self-proclaimed AEW shill, has just went ahead and commented, Naito is better at the chase. I mean, he's definitely right on that. I mean, there's a good number of, New Japan stars who I feel as if are better at going ahead and chasing the world title within going ahead and winning it. I think one of them was most definitely Sonata. Although I liked his reign from those good couple of months that I was actually going ahead and watching and trying to be indebted to what he was putting out the product as champion. But it's like, when you look at certain New Japan stars, it's like, okay, you know what? Being at the chase is better than just going ahead and, being the one being chased. So for that standpoint, I think having Mox go ahead and be champion, it's going to go ahead and push out a lot of more star power in New Japan. It's going to go ahead and have a lot of upcoming rising stars within the sense of, different wrestlers going ahead and trying to take a shot at winning the title off Moxley. So look, currently right now, business is booming, peeps. I'm loving every single part of it. Well, look, congratulations to all of our champions, including Damian Priest, who ended up winning the World Heavyweight title from Drew McIntyre after, of course, a stand in pursuit of an attack from CM Punk this past WrestleMania Night 2. Peeps, I mean, for God's sakes, how much has happened within the span of a week?
A lot, apparently. I think right now, this is where you see the looks on our faces as far as the really good things that have happened in pro wrestling have it has made us happy that we're wrestling fans. It has brought emotion to a lot of people that didn't know they kind of had that kind of emotion watching wrestling. I mean, for goodness sake, we've seen, if you've been online to any social media hub, or if you've been on YouTube or anywhere where you've seen just the reactions of various wrestlers for other wrestlers that have done well, that to me displays where the emotion of why we are fans of this business. It's just seeing Logan Paul literally mark out watching the main event at WrestleMania. Seeing other guys that are looking around and watching and seeing certain things happen, and watching The Rock backstage give Damian Priest a huge hug after he won the championship. Seeing bits and pieces of other wrestlers who weren't even involved in other people's matches showing emotion. And then the fans.
Aside from that, Samantha Irving and her announcement for Cody Rhodes winning the title.
Yes.
Tears streaming down my face as I noticed that. It was, I mean,
and the reason why it works, for Samantha Irving, and then there are some critics that think, oh, she yells a lot, or maybe she doesn't have that same traditional ring announcer kind of delivery. But the reason why Samantha Irving for me works, and this is something that she's talked about, she never wants to know the results of what matches are happening, because she wants her ring announcing to be as authentic as possible live as it happens. And when she does announce that, as you heard her ring announce, she was so choked up and filled with emotion, and she knocked it out of the park. I can't believe I'm saying this about ring announcing. They've made ring announcing great.
Who would have thought?
Who would have thought we've gotten ring announcing that is special? That's what I loved about when all aspects of professional wrestling are on the same page and they just click.
Yep.
It's beautiful to watch.
Exactly right. Exactly right. Well, from that point, peeps, we are going to go ahead and talk about something else. Before we do that, it seems like we have comments in the comment section. Taekwon. Everybody using this on social media is insane. Bisexual Undertaker cashed in his pride flag.
Wow.
Oh, man. I knew Taekwon was going to come in with some of this stuff. The Phenom says, the most emotional WrestleMania I can think of. You are definitely correct, man.
Yeah.
Taekwon also says, peeps haven't seen this much emotion since she got rescued by Harriet Tubman. You know what? It's a wrestling New Year, so happy New Year to you all. But it seems like you got the same Taekwon, and I love it. I love it.
Yes.
But still, from that point, we're at a high. Let's go down a little bit, peeps. Will Ospreay is sending shots back at the King of Kings, the COO of the WWE, Triple H. Of course, we talked about this last week, in which Triple H went ahead and went on the Pat McAfee show, and he went ahead and said some things. And one of the things that he said, look, I'm all about people being here that are a part of the grind. If you don't want to be a part of the grind and you care more about less scheduling and wanting to get a bigger max payout out of things, then this is not the place for you. I don't want you here. Of course, a lot of us said, okay, this is directed at either Okada, this is directed at either, Sasha, or this is directed at either, Will Ospreay. Well, I mean, a lot of us wrestling fans just put 2 and 2 together and we figured out that it was Will Ospreay. Ospreay goes on to Dynamite this past week, which of course was an eventful Dynamite, which we will get to towards the end of the show. But Ospreay and himself said, oh, you know what, Renee? It's insane to me because I heard some people talking this week and they said that I'm not a part of the grind. I don't want the grind. This, that, and the third. You know what? I can't believe that people can go ahead and say such things when I've been working my ass off, leaving the UK, coming here every single week, back and forth, to put on the best professional wrestling matches this world has ever seen. And this person that says this has no reason to talk, being that the position that they're in was only given to them because they were grinding on the boss's daughter, bruv.
Woo! Whatever, bro.
Whatever, bro. Peeps, aside from us going ahead and hearing that from almost every single professional wrestling fan within the last 20 years.
Yeah.
It goes ahead and kind of sends sense into what we're hearing. So what is the point of, kind of like setting the shot? I mean, it was needed for him, but I mean, at the same time, I feel as if it shows within his professional wrestling matches.
Yes.
His match is already top tier. You know what? You don't have to go ahead and just go out there and talk crap. I mean, yeah, listen, I get it. You're going to go ahead and defend your name. I'm all for it. But come on, Ospreay. You know how many 5-star matches I've seen you put on in the last 5 years? Your wrestling speaks for itself. You don't need to go ahead and answer to the other talk that's outside of the company. And plus, on top of that, look, I get it. We know that he was alluding to you, but I mean, he didn't say your name, bruv. I mean, come on, dog. Peeps, what do you think about the whole situation?
I think some people kind of forget that Triple H can be very petty sometimes when it comes to certain shots at certain companies in certain time periods when it's almost warranted. There were a lot of times over the years when we've heard Triple H make a snarky comment or say something along those lines, and we kind of remember one of the more snarky comments was at the genesis of AEW at the WWE Hall of Fame ceremony, and basically telling Billy Gunn, he's like, look, Vince McMahon will buy AEW just so he can fire you from there. Things like that.
Calling them
those were the kinds of things where like that wasn't necessary. It's one of those things that it's not necessary. And Triple H brought that comment out there because he probably felt emboldened based on the success that WWE has had. He's feeling the vibe of WrestleMania. Everything is going well. But at the same time, we also know to some degree, if that shot was legitimately aimed at Will Ospreay, Ospreay has been grinding for a very long time.
Yup.
From England, he's wrestled in Rev Pro. He's wrestled all over Europe. He's wrestled in England. He's wrestled in Scotland. He's gone to Japan and spent a lot of time over there to come to the United States to go back to Japan. If that's not a grind, I don't know what is.
Exactly.
Now, there's that mindset that we've always talked about, and this is usually just within the WWE, was that if you never wrestled in WWE, then you never wrestled anywhere. And that kind of is that same old stereotype mindset that the old regime had. And I think that was just kind of a minor shot at the enemy, at the competition, to make sure that at least Ospreay heard it. But I can understand Ospreay was like, this is his first time of really having to answer something like that in front of people. And it was a good promo. So you can't complain about that.
Can't complain. Of course not. But, of course, in the end, it seems like a lot of people are having war of words, within the sense of, okay, you know what? You said this, I'm going to go ahead and clap back. And as he should. I'm not going to go ahead and knock Ospreay for going ahead and responding back to Triple H. It's only right that he did. You're defending yourself.
Yes.
I'm just saying, damn it, bro. Like, geez, you're already one of the greatest professional wrestlers ever. We know you've grinded out. We know what you've done, dog. Like, come on, man.
Yes.
Like, you leave the old people be. If he wants to go ahead and pull events, let him pull events. You, on the other hand, you continue to do what you're doing. But still, in that case, we're going to go ahead and move on to the side of another person who grinded it out in Ring of Honor, who grinded it out on the Indies, who went to New Japan. Probably didn't put as much as stellar matches, on his Ospreay, but I mean, still, he's almost gone to every single company himself. You know who that is, peeps? Former Bullet Club member himself, Tama freaking Tonga.
Oh, yes.
Now, peeps, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, if you watched SmackDown last night, you will know that a new regime of the Bloodline is underway. Solo Sikoa has annexed his brother Jimmy Uso from the Bloodline, and he had an assailant go ahead and attack Jimmy from behind. Upon them turning the camera to the face of the assailant, he removes the hoodie, and immediately the crowd goes ahead and begins to hit the what? Because, of course, just like we were, they were too. We were appalled. We were shocked, mesmerized, because the fact of the matter was, Tama Tonga was on a WWE screen. And better yet, Tama Tonga is the new member of the Bloodline. And I spoke to peeps and I told peeps, look, in all honesty, I'm happy that Tonga's here. I'm shocked that he's here. But I'm more shocked due to the fact that WWE fans popped for Tama Tonga, which, of course, a couple of minutes ago, peeps had literally said, the old thought process of the old regime of WWE was that if you were never in WWE to begin with, you're not known. You're not as big as a wrestler that you may think you are. But listen, last night proved us wrong and proved them wrong. i.e. Vincent Kennedy McMahon. But I
Mhm.
digress. Peace.
Well, there you go.
I don't know. Is that third one of the day?
That is number 4.
Have mercy.
Yes.
Anywho. But peeps, with that being said, what are we going to expect from Tama Tonga within WWE?
I think we're going to see a lot more aggression from the Bloodline. I don't think you're going to see as much of the goofiness that we saw with Jimmy Uso. I think that the way that they booked the latter part of the Bloodline, at least from Jimmy Uso's side, is that he is a hanger-on. He's trying to, just because he is blood relation to the people within the Bloodline, he is going to be there no matter what. But the way that they did this was literally a cleanup, if you will, spring cleaning. It's wrestling matches, which I think is a mini shot at AEW, that winning matters. Winning has consequences, so does losing. And for all those times that we talked about how Cody, when he was in AEW, were trying to implement the whole rankings and getting wins and losses to actually matter, the fact that the Bloodline lost on the biggest stage is an embarrassment to the tribal chief. So what do? They literally book a consequences storyline to end the previous book and start the next book. And the next book starts with Tama Tonga. And I love this aspect because if you grow a tree has a strong foundation and strong roots, as was shown at the press conference at the WrestleMania press conference in Vegas. But for you to actually have that tree grow, you have to prune the weak branches and let the new ones grow in. This is the effective way of letting that tree grow, is by pruning the bad leaves and pruning the twigs and branches off that tree. And I think this is what they did on Friday.
Definitely so. From there, we move into the next piece of news. Why, Stone Cold? Why?
Why? What? He wasn't there. Why?
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 So
yeah.
I'm gonna need you to go ahead and do the proper Stone Cold what for me each time I go ahead and stop within this little mini promo that I'm about to have. So,
gotcha.
Okay, thank you. Spare me. But look, Stone Cold.
What?
Stone Cold.
What?
Did not show up.
What?
At Mania.
What?
Because.
What?
He was having.
What?
1 beer.
What?
2 beers.
What?
3 beers.
What?
4 beers.
What?
A shot of whiskey.
What?
5 beers.
What?
6 beers.
What?
7 beers.
What?
8 beers.
What?
9 beers.
What?
And a Bloody Mary.
What?
But look, jokes aside, the reason why Stone Cold wasn't at Mania is because I guess him and WWE couldn't agree on a payout. Shocking. That's shocking. Jeez. I'm making damn near billions of dollars. Y'all telling me I could even.
I mean, if you think about it, it's only been 2 years since Austin actually. I can't believe we're saying this. It's been 2 years since Austin main evented night 1 of WrestleMania in Texas.
That's what I'm saying. We damn near saw the man 2 years ago. Hey, y'all tell me I can't pay the man now?
Yeah. Too much money to travel from Texas all the way to Philly. And I think it would have been perfect if he was there, considering the entire weekend. Philly is an Austin town. We know his connection to the wise man, Paul Heyman. So that would have been a perfect setup. And as you talked about before, you wanted to see the final interaction between The Rock and Austin and see if The Rock could sell a stunner the way he usually does, which would have been kind of interesting, seeing the final boss bumping around for a Stone Cold stunner in front of all those people.
Yo, I wanted to see a wallow up,
Yes.
stunner, and then he
Yes.
just goes ahead and starts selling the hell out of it.
Yes.
Outside the ring, for God's sakes, this, that, and the third. It would have made sense. I really would have enjoyed it.
It would have been hilarious.
Nothing's wrong with a little bit of Undertaker, right?
Yes.
Nothing's wrong with that, because you go from one Texas legend, you can't get him, you get the other Texas legend.
There
They're
you
both
go.
good. So, I mean, still, I guess it would have tied in better had it been Austin. Because,
Yes.
of course, as I said, peeps, and I was alluding to this for months, Philly, WrestleMania 15, main event, Rock
Yes.
v. Austin, world title. It made sense. It just made sense. He knows Dusty. He talks a lot about Dusty.
Yes.
About how he's seen him wrestle too many times at this moratorium. The fact that he's literally indulged Dusty into the business, and because of Dusty, he took wrestling more serious in a sense.
Yes.
And how he hates authority figures.
Mm.
Wouldn't it have made sense to take care of the final boss? Because we know Stone Cold hates bosses. But you know what? I digress.
There you go.
I'm done.
That's number 5. That's number 5. So we're gonna
damn thing.
Yeah. There you go. There you go.
Oh jeez. We have a new person in the chat. This is my first time seeing his name is Aaron W. He's like, what about the CM Punk's backstage fight? You're in the right place, buddy. Stay tuned because we will be covering this towards the end of the show. And you're going to want to listen because we have a rant coming for you.
Yes.
But look, with that being said, we go into the last piece of Wrestling Crash Course. Vincent Kennedy Alopecius Dumbledore McMahon has sold the rest of his TKO stock.
Yes.
Peeps. I feel like having a praise break right now. I don't know. I really do. I feel like getting out of this chair and catching the Holy Spirit. Because good grief, Vince is completely about to be out of WWE and TKO for good.
Yes.
I never thought I'd see this day come, peeps.
Yeah. I think he's doing TKO a solid in the sense that they don't want anything to do with him anymore. His name itself is hurting their bottom line. It's hurting the reputation of the company. I'm pretty sure it hurt stock, etc. All of these things that have come up in the allegations with the lawsuit and all of the other things that have happened over the years. We all know what TKO is trying to do. And we now know Vince McMahon has nowhere to go professionally as far as going and doing anything. And I don't think anybody in the business world wants to do anything with Vince McMahon that we are aware of. So whatever is left of his stock is literally valued at over $800 million. So he can sell the rest of that stock. He can create 5 money bins and have one between Monday and Friday and rest on the weekend. If that's what he so chooses, so be it. But as long as he is as far away from the WWE's creative business day-to-day, doing interviews, stock meetings with the higher-ups, shareholders, they don't want any part of that. Exactly. And it's evidenced by that, how Stephanie was at WrestleMania and she got standing ovations all around.
Yup. Talk about it. And glowing as ever. Jeez.
Yes.
Have mercy. Them McMahons don't age, peeps.
Yes.
Have mercy. But look, Taekwon says this. He's like, I bought them stocks. Scripps is going to be world champ by next week. Oh, God. Jeez.
That's funny. That is funny.
Definitely is. But with that being said, guys, that marks the end of Wrestling Crash Course. If you guys want to go ahead and keep up with any of our social media news and updates, you can follow us on Instagram at Saturday Afternoons_main event or on Twitter at Saturday Main. With that being said, let's go ahead and get into the first topic of business. Ladies and gentlemen, last week, of course, we had what is supposed to be and what is now called the greatest WrestleMania of all time. And it ended in complete perfect fashion because we now have 2 world champions, a new women's champion, a new intercontinental champion, new SmackDown tag team champions, Peeps, what else am I missing here?
I
think we covered it all, right?
Pretty much. And an excoriation of old leadership to rein in the new leadership.
There we go. There you go. Peeps, I like that.
There you go.
But with that being said, guys, look, we're going to go ahead and only get into the several matches that we feel like tied into night 2. And, of course, the matches that we feel were matches of that weekend itself. Now, peeps, first order of business, the match that started it all off for the weekend for us, Rhea Ripley versus Becky Lynch.
Yes.
What were your thoughts?
I actually think that Becky has basically done what I think a lot of people kind of looked at, was that this is kind of like the passing of the torch. I think a lot of people think that the two women in the company that have been at the top, that would be looked at as kind of the heart and soul of the WWE's women's division, is Charlotte Flair and Becky Lynch. And that's no disrespect to any of the other women on the roster. But I think that as far as the in-ring ambassador, those are the two that come to mind mostly for a lot of people. And the way Becky had this match, even though they had talked about she had strep throat, she had a fever going in, it almost reminded me of what they did with Flair and Lex Luger years ago, where Luger had a staph infection in his knee, 103 fever. He just got out of the hospital. He's going to wrestle. And I understand that part was probably kind of stretched out a little bit, just a little bit embellishment. But I think with that match, I think Rhea has established even beforehand that she is without question the person of that women's division that's going to carry them going forward, because she has been champion now at least almost a full year now. Like literally, it's now been a full year because she won the belt at WrestleMania last year.
Yep.
So let's see what happens going forward. But if we're looking at like a Walter-like championship reign, don't be surprised if Rhea is the one that does it.
Definitely so. I mean, mommy's on top. She's literally killing it. I can't go ahead and get mad at that. She's doing what she has to do. But for me, peeps, I don't think any match on this card really lacked. Except for Jey Uso versus Jimmy Uso.
That was without question the most underwhelming, disappointing match for what I expected the match to be. They still had a pretty decent match. It wasn't awful by any means, but there were so many super kicks. There was a lot of downtime in between. And then there wasn't as much. They never kicked the match into a full gear that was supposed to be what you would have expected from two brothers that supposedly are fighting for family pride. And for all of the things that Jimmy cost Jay, that match should have been more. I thought going in, my prediction was Rikishi was going to show up and try to kind of smack some sense into the both of them, so to speak. Like, what? You guys are twins. Get on the same page. You're family, that kind of thing. That didn't happen. But even more so, I didn't see the intensity that I thought I was going to see throughout the entirety of the match. I was expecting much more of a much more violent, personal. I was expecting Cody versus Dustin.
Yup.
From Double or Nothing. That's kind of what I was expecting. I didn't get that.
We ain't get that, peeps.
Not by a long shot.
We didn't even get Owen versus Brett, peeps.
Yeah.
Like, have mercy. Even Matt versus Jeff seemed much more better than this.
Yes.
Like,
and they even mentioned it on camera. They mentioned all of those on camera. This is something that would not have happened under the Vince regime. You would not hear of anything that happened in the past with wrestlers that aren't even in the company anymore.
Exactly.
That was great.
Man, Taekwon, more super kicks than Young Bucks having an orgy with HBK.
Wow.
Jeez, have mercy. Oh man. He's like, it makes Kettle from Hell look like Omega versus Okada.
Wow.
He's not losing stride, ladies and gentlemen.
Yes.
We let Taekwondo do what he has to do in the comment section.
Yes.
But still, peeps. A-Town Down Under, new SmackDown Tag Team Champions. Awesome Truth, new Raw Tag Team Champions. I told you this is what was going to go ahead and go down. It made sense for them to split the titles that certain type of way. And finally, R-Truth gets his WrestleMania moment. Peeps,
yes.
This match, honestly, I felt like I was watching TLC 2 for a bit. For a bit. Because then there was the boxes with the ladders. Damian Priest still trying to climb a ladder, even though the thing was broken.
And you notice the referee was trying to warn, don't use that ladder. Don't use that ladder. And he turned around and he shooed the referee away. Get away from me. And then they realized, like, oh yeah. Man. We don't need a 6'7" man falling and breaking his leg because of a faulty gimmick ladder.
Exactly.
So, yeah. But without question, that worked. First of all, it's hard to believe that was the only WrestleMania win of R-Truth's career.
Yup.
And the fact remains that Miz has had his WrestleMania moment. We all know that. A lot of other wrestlers that were in that match have had their moments. But a lot of people that don't realize, Austin Theory, the last 2 WrestleManias has been champion. And last year, his match with Cena was really what put him over the top in the eyes of a lot of people, with Triple H trying to kind of reinvent him to get him from underneath that Money in the Bank briefcase, to get that off of him and move him forward. And now here we go the following year, and more so for Grayson Waller, because they've kind of used them to Roddy Piper-fy the fan base by insulting them and getting on them, but they weren't winning anything. True. This, I think, helps them out in the eyes of their reputation, because if you don't win, as the tagline goes, winning does matter.
Yes.
And that helps them out because it makes them even more obnoxious. And you bring all these tag teams in that want to take them out, and they can just continue to grow as a tag team and actually win matches.
Exactly right. Exactly right. But still, peeps, within all of that, Jade Cargill, Bianca Belair, and Naomi look like stars. You had Rey Mysterio go ahead and whoop his son again. Yes. The former NXT North American champion. This is a rib at somebody, ladies and gentlemen. If you do not know who it is, I'm going to keep it like that and keep it silent. Yeah. Peeps knows. That's why Peeps is kind of chuckling. But look, with that being said, we're moving into the final match before the 2 main events that we're going to go ahead and soon talk about here. Sami Zayn versus Gunther. By far, the best 15-minute match of the weekend.
Yes.
Peeps.
I find it hard to believe they only gave them that amount of time. That match, even as good as it was, it could have been a longer match.
It honestly could have. It really honestly could have. But you know what? Taekwondo says this. Chad Gable got robbed. You and I are both amongst the same type of line, because I think Peeps and I both penciled in that we were going to have Gunther win this match.
Yes.
And somehow Sami Zayn shocked the world and took the title off Gunther.
Yes.
A good 666-day reign. Notice I had to hit the sign of the cross for that one.
Yes.
But listen, above all, him going ahead and winning the title was great. I loved it. The emotion, just the sheer excitement of seeing him go ahead and hit a brain buster. At one moment I thought it was a botch, and then I was like, no. PWG, brain buster. Yeah. Holy crap.
Yes.
Oh, Peeps, I lost it.
Yes.
That for me, I loved it. I loved every single minute of this match.
That's that Will Ospreay brain buster that he's used a lot in New Japan. Yeah, that's the way to do it.
Exactly right. And I mean, for God's sakes, Peeps, Gunther had a great reign. But in all honesty, I think we all know storyline-wise, within the sense of the match, his heelish antics costed him the match.
Yes.
And they really wrote this like Rocky IV. I kid you not. They really did write this like Rocky IV. And
they almost plagiarized Rocky up to the extent of really Rocky III. That this was, even to the extent of when they showed the vignettes and they did all of the things. When I heard this is when I changed my mind as why I thought, I was like, you know what? I actually think Walter's losing this match. What happened was just as Sami Zayn came out and he met up with Chad Gable and Chad looked at him, he's like, you know, when this is all done, you're going to owe me a favor. A complete quote from Rocky 3. Just where Apollo Creed said the same to Rocky after Rocky beat Clubber Lang. The favor was they had a fight at the end of the movie. And that's literally what this is all about. And the drama, it was in Philly, the Liberty Bell and the Rocky statue and the Gonna Fly Now music and all of the stuff that they could have used. This drama worked. And it worked twofold. One, we got back-to-back WrestleManias where Sami Zayn broke a long record-breaking streak. Tag team division night 1 WrestleMania main event. And in this one, against Walter, who now can transition into that main eventer that we know he is. He carried that Intercontinental Championship to the greatest heights I believe this company had ever seen. And this is going on through a lot of wrestlers. Obviously, Honky Tonk Man having the belt the longest. Randy Savage, Ricky Steamboat, Chris Jericho. Lots of other wrestlers that are going in there that have had the belt numerous times, have had long title reigns. He did for that belt what a lot of other people could never do with the IC championship. Exactly right. And he made it not only important, but he made it almost main event quality in his matches. And that's the reason why he had such a long title reign. And now it's ready for him to transition because he's main event ready, main event caliber. And I think between now and the end of the year, I would not be surprised if he ends up being world champion.
You're definitely right, man. You're definitely right. It's funny. Phenom's out here saying, of course, no mention of Kelsey and costing once again the greatest North American champion of all time. Great for blowing your cover, man. Funny, Taekwon says this, I guess Sammy didn't have an easy way out. Zing! That song's literally in my workout playlist. Yo, Taekwon, you're cultured.
There you go.
I love it. But from there, peeps, let's go ahead and get into this, okay? We're not going to get into the other crazy matches of night 2, except for one, Bayley versus Io Sky.
Yes.
Peeps, 14 minutes of sheer... Peeps, I'm about to cry. That's a great match.
Yes. And there were parts of this match where I didn't think Bayley was going to come out from this because she looked like she legitimately re-injured her knee. Exactly. And she was hobbling around and you could see the emotion in her face was like, oh man, she's punching herself in the knee and in the leg. Is like, I know this is not happening at WrestleMania. And she willed her way through it. Now, whether it was a legitimate tweak of the knee or if she was just kayfabing it for the match and giving that quality, whatever it is, she worked it really well through the entirety of the match, and the match came across as the drama that it should have been. And if this was any other WrestleMania, that would have been the main event of night 1.
Definitely.
That's how good that match was.
Yes, definitely. But her being champion, it's great for business. I love it. Shout out to her. But peeps, now we had 2 main events that stretched across the time fold of 78 minutes. Peeps.
Yes.
If you were to tell me in 2024 that we would be getting Rock and Roman versus Cody and Seth. Backtrack this. If you were to tell me after WrestleMania 38 in Dallas, after Roman Reigns became Undisputed Universal Champion, that we would be getting him teaming up with his cousin to take on Seth and Cody, and the winner goes ahead and determines the stipulation for the night after, in which Cody goes up against Roman for the second time in a row at WrestleMania, I would sit there and I would be like, yo, that must be some good crack. Because I wouldn't believe you. But guess what? Night 1, Cody and Seth lost at the hands of the Bloodline, The Rock and Roman Reigns, in a tag team match that spanned 44 minutes and 35 seconds.
Yes.
I never thought The Rock could go for 40 minutes, but Jesus Christ, yo, that man showed us different.
Yes.
Yo, peeps, what were your thoughts about that match, just itself?
Without question, just based on the quality of the match, because we knew there was going to be shenanigans going on. We also knew that even though the Bloodline Rules stipulation was for the main event of night 2, let's really be honest, that tag team match was Bloodline Rules. And they literally did everything to make sure that Rollins and Cody got screwed. And I was impressed that, one, The Rock didn't blow himself up, because when you haven't been in ring for quite some time, it's very easy, because we know, one, The Rock has gotten a little bit older, but also by virtue of the fact that he is a monster, he's bigger. He's literally bigger and has much more mass on his body. So he could pull a muscle, he could tweak something, any number of unfortunate things could happen. And the fact that
scared when he kind of like hit the low blow with Seth and his knees gave out, I was sitting there like, oh God, Rock, please don't. But with the minute he got back up,
just get through the match. Just get through the match.
Exactly.
Yes.
But I mean, aside from that little mini botch, he still went out and put on a great match.
Yes.
And listen, as you said, Bloodline Rules within itself for that tag team match. Because what the heck is a ref? If you count, you're fired. What the heck, bro? What?
Well, they really did that power play really well, and you could catch it on camera. And boy, does The Rock have a potty mouth! How does he kiss his wife with that mouth? My goodness!
I mean, that same mouth caused him to have about 3 children, so I guess it works.
You got a point there.
I mean, listen, jeez, have mercy. But hey, you know what?
Yes.
That match set up night 2, in which we got an amazing main event that stretched 33 minutes and 25 seconds. The timing in these matches, good Lord.
Yes.
But Cody ended up defeating Roman Reigns. As I said, Bloodline Rules kind of ended up going ahead and messing this up for them. Because, of course, us knowing that anything goes, no DQ, anything can happen, right? And that's why we knew there was it was really destined to be overbooked. It had to be an overbooked main event.
And that's what I said last week. I said it's going to be the most overbooked match of the entire show. There was going to be wrestlers from different eras, and there was going to be a Kamehameha. There was going to be all kinds of lightning, and everything was good. There was going to be a lot. Exactly. There was going to be everything you could think about was going to happen in this match, but it worked based on the context of the story involved.
Yes, definitely so. Definitely so.
Yes.
Not wrong, peeps. But hey, where do you rank this WrestleMania on your all-time list, peeps?
Well, as I always do, I always compare every WrestleMania. As you know, I've said this for years. I compare it to WrestleMania 3. As far as the emotion and everything, I can actually finally take off the nostalgia goggles and put them to the side. And I can legitimately say that this is one of the better WrestleManias that they've done. It's really, really high up there. It hasn't surpassed WrestleMania 3 for me. But I'll tell you one thing. It got really, really close.
It really, okay.
And the reason why it didn't surpass it is because of how iffy Night 1 was. Night 1 had maybe out of the 7 matches from Night 1, 3 of those matches were really, really WrestleMania types, really, really WrestleMania worthy. And then a couple of the others kind of lowered them down some. But Night 2 blew it out of the park. Definitely. Night 2 did a great job of reestablishing every match on that card was a WrestleMania quality match. And if you told me that Night 1 never happened, and you told me WrestleMania was what we got in Night 2, that would have been perfect for me. And we can't even dismiss the sheer drama of Drew McIntyre winning the World Heavyweight Championship at the beginning of Night 1, holding onto the belt, and his hubris cost him the championship with CM Punk at commentary. tripping him off the table after winning the belt, and then cold cocking him with that triceps brace. And then, of course,
his wife.
Exactly.
They recreate the Triple H Judgment Day meme off Twitter.
Yes. And of course, we know Damian Priest cashing in, winning the championship, and walking out. And the absolute embarrassment on the face of Drew McIntyre. The camera work that they did with that was absolutely perfect. They caught him at the right time, and CM Punk smiling and clapping. Congratulations! Oh, it was that. Like I said, night 2 really, without question.
Definitely. I can't agree anymore. But look, with that being said, that marks the end of the first half of Same, ladies and gentlemen. When we come back, we're gonna go ahead and get into our questions, and then of course the last piece of news today after our questions will be regarding All Elite Wrestling. So stay tuned. Do not go anywhere because the second half of Same is coming up next. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, welcome to the second half of Saturday afternoon's main event. Of course, it is a phenomenal one. Right beside me is the one, the only Peeps Nate. We're here to give you laughs, good times, and all the wrestling news possible. So we're here. With that being said, we're going to go ahead and get into our questions. You guys know if you want to send in a question, we're all open to it. So all you have to do is just go ahead and DM us on Instagram at Saturday_main event. Send in a question, and in the words of the wrestling god, JBL, I guarantee you will be on the next episode of the show. So with that being said, peeps, let's go ahead and open up with the first question, right?
Let's do it.
First one comes from Master Sean 007. He says, greetings, gentlemen. I feel like I don't have too much to say this week. It's like Tony Khan has left me speechless. How can one person who built up a company in such a short time seem so hell-bent on tearing it apart? He has some experienced minds in his company, such as Jim Ross and Tony Schiavone, to get advice from, and he continues to do foolishness. That's why I applaud anyone who signs with AEW, because the main reason why they go there is for a huge payday, nothing more. Tony better pray that he will get that big TV deal, because let's face it, he is losing leverage, money, and fans, because he thinks he knows what he is doing. I really believe that if he used the free advice given to him over the years, the ratings would be at least double what they are now. Sorry for the rant. Can't stand incompetence. Tony should just sell the company. I mean, Vince just sold off his remaining WWE/UFC stocks. Before I even get into this question, I just want to say to you guys.
Yeah.
This is the first time since we have done this show and we have met Master Sean 007 that he has ever written something like this.
Yes. He's
usually just had regular questions for us to answer
and
then go from there.
Yes.
Y'all had this man come out his shell.
Yeah. I think AEW has that effect on a lot of people over the last couple of months. But yeah, I think our answer and my answer will go into later on into the topic, because I'm going to incorporate a lot of that into what I have to say. But to kind of answer it without answering it, I think a lot of people feel the same way. And there are a lot of people that are looking at what AEW is trying to do, or what they have done, or what they haven't done, and are wondering, what the hell are they doing? And I think we'll do our job to answer that as best as we can. But yes, I see the frustration.
To go ahead and pent this up a little more, Corey goes ahead and says 100% disagree. That's all he says. Harrod says, leave my grinding company alone. And Taekwon says, this MFer wrote a novel. Shakespeare of wrestling rants. Eloquent ass rage. This man typed it with a quill pen. Okay. As we can see, a lot of people disagree. Some people find this as joy of laughter.
Yes.
We're going to get into this soon, guys. Don't worry.
Yes.
Just give it about a couple more minutes. Master Sean 007, we will answer your question soon. Don't worry.
Yes.
Tombstone City Adam. Tama Tonga, was I on Fox or Access TV last night? I think you were on Fox, buddy. Trust me. I think I had the same type of feeling too. Up until the point that we kind of noticed that it was Tama. But like I said, it's good to see him. We'll see what happens within the next couple of months. I see Bloodline Civil War again. This time on a newly revised version of the Bloodline. I saw Corey allude to this on, I believe it was either Instagram or on YouTube, where he said, you know, Jacob fought too soon. I am totally above the mind.
Oh, without question. Without question.
Exactly. So, look, and definitely the one thing that I see that we're not mentioning. Tama literally went up to Paul after they laid waste to Jimmy Uso when he said, as per the request of the tribal chief. But if you remember, Solo smashed the phone. So he wasn't talking about that tribal chief. So you know what? I'm going to call it now. Dwayne is behind this. Okay? I'm saying this now. Peeps, do you agree with me?
I would not be surprised if that was the case. I think that as they're moving forward, the wild card in this whole thing is Paul Heyman and his expressions. All of the things that he's doing without really doing a lot. Those are the small things within that story that work.
Definitely so. Corey also says this. He's like, they did not pop for Tama. They popped for the attack. Peeps, do you stand by that? Because I think we kind of heard like a little whoa from the crowd when he finally removed the hoodie. They popped for the attack, but I did hear a lot of gasps when they saw that it was Tama Tonga. That's what I'm saying. Maybe not everybody knows who it is, but I think a lot of people, much more than people are willing to either admit or maybe give credit to, maybe. I think a lot of people realize who that was. Yeah, definitely so. Because I mean, a lot of people have Twitter. I think they keep up with wrestling news. It's not like they're gonna sit there and just like, you know, not know anything outside of WWE.
Yes, and that's
WWE fans. They will know, you know.
And that's the difference between Vince McMahon's mindset and Triple H, is the fact that Triple H knows that the fans watch other promotions. They know who certain wrestlers are. Now, that's not saying that's everybody in the crowd. But at the same time, I think we know that there are wrestling fans who have an idea who Tama Tonga is. And if they don't, stick around for the ride. You're going to find out soon.
Definitely so. From there, last piece of the questions comes from Long Island Isaiah. He says, Cody new champ, Solo taking over the bloodline. Jade and Bianca look like modern day Soul Man and Tony Atlas. And Punk showed up on Mania, Raw, and AEW. Wrestling is cool.
Yes.
You're shady for that last part, man. I get it.
And you can also picture him doing one of these. Wrestling is cool.
Thanks, guys.
Yes. Oh man, we have too much fun doing this show.
I was just, yo, Peeps, get out of my head, bro. I was just about to say that. Oh man. But with that being said, that marks the end of the question, guys. You can see the amount of joy and laughter these questions bring to us. So look, all you have to do is one thing and one thing only. DM us on Instagram at SaturdayAfternoons_main event. Send in a question. I guarantee it will be on the next episode of the show, guys. Let's go ahead and cover this, peeps. It's about that time.
So are we at the part of the show with the huge juxtaposition?
Yeah, we are.
Okay. Now I've got the permanent marker.
Great. Amazing.
Yes.
So, look, I'm gonna be as professional as possible. If there are children below the age of 14, because guess what? I was 15 when I was introduced to cursing at a wrestling magnitude. Okay, so I think I could say that below 14 is the right age group. If you're below the age of 14, then this next segment in the show is not for you. I suggest you watch it with adult supervision if you're really that caring about wanting to listen to what we're about to say. Because I kid you not, we're going to be saying more than just I digress. So, with that being said, guys, let's go ahead and do this. AEW airs brawling footage. I put out a video early this morning that told you guys, look, I'm going to say more on the show. But within what I said, it was mainly due to the fact that I was certainly pissed. Go back to Saturday. We had just witnessed The Rock and Roman Reigns close out WrestleMania. I was already tired enough. I had a headache. But I was like, you know what? Wrestling's still on TV, right? So let me just tune into Collision. You know, why not? Go into Collision, scrolling on Twitter to see what people were saying about WrestleMania. And then went to the kitchen real quick to grab myself a bottle of water. And then instantly, I refresh, and then the tweet comes out. Because the TV wasn't loud enough. I went ahead and turned the TV down because I literally had all the speakers blasting in the house, you know, during the whole main event. So, yeah, my head was already blaring. I was just like, you know what? Screw it. Like, I can't listen anymore. So, that's how I pretty much got the news that our EVPs, Matthew and Nicholas Jackson, were going to go ahead and release backstage footage from All In that took place in August of 2023. Instantly, I saw it and I was like, backstage footage, All In. They're not talking about what I think they're talking about. That would be completely out of proportion. They wouldn't do such a thing. I mean, for God's sakes, I can't understand how you can possibly want to, you know, do something like that while we're sitting here trying to build for Dynasty. For me, the build is on Dynasty. That's all I can possibly care on. Because we literally have about 2 weeks before we see Swerve possibly become AEW World Champion. That's what I'm thinking about, peeps. And I think you're above the same mindset, too.
Yes.
Because there is a bunch of matches that are going into Dynasty that are going to be fun-filled and are going to be memorable and that we ourselves are going to be seated for and watching.
Yes.
So, for me, when I think that you have 2 weeks left for a wrestling show, you have 2 weeks left to continue to sell these matches to me. So when I sat there and I looked at this, I was like, nah, they're not doing that, bro. They're not going to go ahead and put out footage that I think they're going to put out. And when I say that, I say the fight between Punk and Jack Perry. Because honestly, that's old news. It's water under the bridge. We're past that. The man left, went to WWE. I've seen people on Twitter who were going ahead and saying the same thing. And then you had fans, other fans going ahead and saying, oh, well, Punk should have never went ahead and mentioned it. Punk should have never did this. Punk should have never did that. In all honesty, Punk didn't go ahead and go on WWE TV and talk about it. Punk was on Ariel Helwani's show. Ariel Helwani asked him a question. Now, I get it. There's a lot of AEW fans who hate Ariel Helwani too and do not like Punk. I get it. That's your opinion. I firmly stand by your opinion. I can agree with you. Me, on the other hand, I like pro wrestling as a whole. Should there really be hates in this? Because if that's the case, we would literally kill Hulk Hogan already. And what else, peeps? What else? Will we actually want to go ahead and sit there and like watch out for Punk? That's just a fact. You know? So, for me, I can't sit there and say, oh, you know what? Screw Punk, screw Ariel Helwani. Look, wrestling is wrestling. There shouldn't be any hates in this, okay? Like, honestly speaking, they're the same people as us. They eat, they sleep, they breathe. They're not superheroes as per what we think they are. They're human beings. At the end of the day, if they're garnering attention from us, then obviously what they're doing is working. That's just me. So they're saying, oh, well, Punk started it. To those saying that Punk started it, here's why I'm saying you're wrong. Just because he answered a question, which he had stated a good several times that he did not want to answer, but for the benefit that that wasn't a part of his NDA, he wanted to speak on it and did it there. I think alongside, within that interview, he also said, look, I'm not saying Tony's a bad guy. Tony's a good man. But I feel that that's where it kind of draws apart from the business aspect of Tony. Because him being a good man is him being taken advantage of. That's what I got from it. Peeps, am I wrong?
Yeah.
Okay. So, Monday, Tuesday, early Wednesday, I'm sitting there like, today's the day. You know, when's this going to happen? I'm thinking above the mindset that they're not going to go ahead and pull any of that dumb BS. I think that they're going to go ahead and do what WWE used to do back in the 90s. Remember, peeps? Gilbert?
Yeah.
Fake Diesel and fake Razor?
Yes.
As Corey had alluded to earlier within the comments, because I did see that comment. The billionaire Ted stuff?
Yes.
Okay.
And the Huckster and the Nacho Man. Yeah.
Okay. So I
yes.
Okay, so we're about the same mindset. I'm thinking they're gonna go ahead and outplay the hell out of this. I think they're gonna go ahead and make a complete joke out of it, just to make a complete joke out of it. I didn't think for 1 second that they were gonna do this. So for me, I'm like, okay, you know what? They're most definitely gonna go ahead and pop some ratings. They're gonna go ahead and do good. But of course, for me, I'm thinking that this is still gonna be above the aspect that we're getting builds to Dynasty. That was what it was all about. So fast forward to Wednesday night. I'm at work, sitting down, watching the show. Of course, it doesn't open up with it. We get a match first. Then within the match, I see that they put out a timer for the whole segment with the Jacksons. And I'm like, they got a whole timer for this? This is hysterical. I was laughing. I was like, oh man, they're really going to go ahead and pull out a ruse. I'm loving this so much. Like, this is what I expect. I don't expect them to pull anything stupid. I don't think they're going to go ahead and go above like the legalities of like, you know, UK laws and things and then just show out footage from Wembley. Now look, we fast forward to the segment and the Bucks begin to start talking. And as I'm sitting there listening to them, I see that they're alluding to Punk. But they won't say his name. So I get it. I'm like, okay, you know, they're speaking on Punk. There has to be some sort of way that, you know, they're gonna go ahead and pull like, you know, the Nacho Man type of thing. I'm really expecting it, peeps. And then they kind of say to FTR, look, you guys had the audacity to ask us to shake your hands after our match at All In, after knowing that your friend went ahead and pulled what he pulled to go ahead and ruin that night for AEW as a whole. And you think that we're going to go ahead and sit there and respect you. When I heard that, I was like, y'all make no freaking sense, because wasn't y'all the same ones that teamed up with them to go up against Bullet Club Gold at All Out? Peeps, am I wrong?
Mm-hmm.
So you're telling me that now y'all want to reprogress the storyline when y'all literally ruined it almost 2 weeks later by teaming up with FTR? But now it's, oh, y'all expect us to shake your heads. Yo, team with them for God's sakes. What difference does it make? So now I'm sitting there like, so now y'all trying to tie this into y'all match. When honestly speaking, I don't think this has no correspondence. I see what they were trying to do, but it wasn't working out due to the fact that right-minded wrestling fans like us, who actually know what the whole history is, and know that they were literally matching together and they were going ahead and having matches here and there, and they had a cool subtle rivalry. And we thought it was going to progress after All In. But the fact that you team with them at All Out, you're telling me that now y'all want to revisit this. When y'all could have never re-teamed with them, could have had another team do it, and y'all could have further progressed the story by not even going ahead and saying nothing to them up until this point now. Then it would have made sense to me. But no, y'all went this route. And then they further went ahead and showed the footage. That minute was grueling. Because I sat there and I was like, okay. Perry right there. Joe's right there. Hook is right there. Tony's probably behind the monitors. No Bucks in sight. No FTR. Did see Cassius Ohno, of course, Chris Hero, Jerry Lynn. But as I said, I'm sitting there and I'm watching and I see Punk come out of the corner, walk up to Jack. Of course, it seems like this was provoked by Punk. Had Punk not say anything, none of this would ever happen. That's where I think Punk went wrong. Because Punk should have never went ahead and addressed the situation to begin with. You say they act like children, but then you proceed to act like one yourself. Don't address the shit. There's no reason to. As I said, guys, I'm going to be using profanity. Don't mind it. There's a reason why there was a disclaimer in the beginning. But furthermore, you went ahead and you walked up to Jack. You should have never done that to begin with. Because I think we both know where that would have ended. Because it's obvious during his interview with Ariel, he was like, oh, I addressed Tony several times and I told him, look, you take care of it or I will. And when I do, you're not going to like the way that I handle things. Punk, you're not pulling any strings over there. Don't do jack. Don't do nothing. Right out your time. You're worried about that? You're kidding me. So then we begin to see Punk go ahead and push Jack, put him in a headlock. Perry looks like he escapes it. Punk tries to throw a haymaker, then suddenly pushes him again. Joe kind of backs up the men. Everybody's coming in to separate them. And then, from what I saw, this is just from my vision itself, I saw Hero and Jerry Lynn hold back CM Punk to the point that it seems like Hero's a big guy. Of course, he seemed like he kind of like, pushed Punk back into the corner. And then Punk seems like he turns his head to Tony, tells Tony whatever he told Tony, primarily, okay, company's a joke, you're a clown, I effing quit. Turns his back, goes back to his locker room. The Bucks then further restate that this is all about FTR and then say that at Dynasty, they're going to make sure to take those AEW tag titles. Segment over. Peeps, for one subtle reason, why in the blue hell should I sit there and not go ahead and say what I'm about to say? Give me one good reason why I shouldn't, please.
For all intents and purposes, whatever you're about to say, I'm pretty sure if there are any fans that are fans of the Bucks or AEW, they're going to probably have some issues with whatever you're about to say. I can see it bubbling to the surface.
And if they do, they do. I'm sorry.
Yes.
It is what it is, but you're going to have to hear this. And if you don't want to hear it, tune off. I have no problem in that. But the fact of the matter is this. CM Punk at All Out 2022 said that he was tired, he was sick of the shit, and that he's old, and that he works with fucking children. In 2024, April 13th, I can say that it reigns true because AEW is filled with fucking children. You're telling me that literally 7.5 months later, now you want to air all in footage. Now you want to go ahead and speak on Punk. When literally, when you said, Tony Khan, oh, I fired CM Punk for probable cause. Never in my life did I feel this threatened at a wrestling show. And you had the footage in your back pocket, and then you didn't want to display it. But now, because of what he said on Ariel Helwani, you feel that now's the need and now's the time for you to allow the Bucks to display this and then say that somehow it ties into a storyline. Effing bullshit. I'm sick and I'm tired of them going ahead and trying to speak on WWE in a manner that somehow they think it's going to pop a rating. When obviously they did 819 on a Nielsen demographic rating. Punk wasn't even enough to get you guys to 1 million. Get out of your fucking system. What the hell? For me, as a fan of professional wrestling. I'm not speaking as a fan of WWE right now. I'm not speaking as a fan of New Japan. I'm speaking as a fan of the industry. Stop with the BS. Stop with the nonsense. Stop with the childish fuckery. Because at this point, as a fan, I am disgusted. I'm appalled. I'm aroused. I'm tired. And I'm sick of this shit. Because how in the blue hell do you expect me to enjoy your product if the shit that you're doing has nothing to do with a guy who's literally living it up as his best life is back in a company that he somehow said he was sick of in the first place? What does that tell you? And Corey, don't even think I don't see your comment right now, because you say that I'm wrong. To hell with your comment. That's just me being me, because currently right now, that's what I'm feeling. And many other fans feel the same way. I'm an AEW fan at heart. You don't think I was sick of the shit that WWE was doing in 2019? Tell me. You think I liked seeing hot lesbian action in 2019 with Lana and Liv Morgan? You think I liked seeing Roman Reigns in a fucking bulldog costume? You know what? You're saying invite me to discuss. Not right now. This is my time. I'm taking care of this. And people's gonna have a lot to say too. So you know what? You can come back next week. What I'm saying is this. It's 2024. In this day and age, this shouldn't have happened at all. And I know for a fact there's a couple of AEW fans that are saying, oh, well, CM Punk started it. Oh, well, he should have never said anything. Oh, he should have kept his mouth shut. You know what? The hell with your fucking comment. I don't give a rat's ass. Because at this point, I'm not even on FCC Airways, so I can actually say what the F I want to say. It was bullshit. It's childish. He's not there no more. What did it have to do with Dynasty, peeps? What did it have to do with Dynasty?
Yeah, you're perfectly 100% correct.
I wanted to see Swerve in more of a crazier build, because what I saw from the week before, with him going ahead and signing his name on a contract with his own blood, that for me was enough to say, you know what? I'm ordering Dynasty, which I did. Seeing a match like that is worth it for business. I want to see more like that out of AEW. You wasted your time. You wasted fans' time on going ahead and doing shit like that. When number one, it didn't pop a rating. Number two, what else did it do? It had fans in the arena chanting FCM Punk, and then you had another half chanting CM Punk. You had Tony Schiavone, who I don't know if he was splitting, I don't know if he was actually going ahead and just playing it off. But the look that Tony Schiavone had on his face gave me the impression that it was WCW Bash at the Beach 2000. That was the look of a man who has seen so much in this business. That was the look of a man who said to himself, you know what, I should have never went ahead and told Punk to go ahead and handle the whole Jack Perry situation in the first place. If I hadn't went to Punk and catering, none of this would have happened. How? And look, you're saying this. Look at Jack Perry's reaction last night. It worked in getting him over as a heel. I'm not talking about Jack Perry right now. Yes, he's over. Yes, his scapegoat shirt sold out. Am I buying it? Hell's no. But it's working for him. Yeah, I saw it. Don't think I didn't see it. Oh yeah, the fans out here chanting, you got choked out, and another half chanting, no, he didn't. And then the other fans, oh, cry me a river. I've seen it. But did it help me go ahead and coexist with the fact that AEW still put that shit on the air? No. So don't talk to me about Jack Perry right now, because none of that shit is within AEW. Is he back in the company? Is he up on TV? It's supposed to happen in the probable future. But is he back on TV now? No, the fuck he's not. So why do you talk to me about Jack Perry? Why? What benefit does it make? The problem is that AEW chose to go ahead and do this because they were so sick and tired of Punk going ahead and talking about them. So what did they do? They pulled out of Tony's Coke stash a video that they had in their vault for 7.5 months to do what? Try to bash his name back? When what did it do? I saw literally throughout my freaking Twitter timeline a bunch of fans that are saying, look, I've been a CM Punk fan for so long This just makes me more of a fan. Here he goes. Creating a story. What story? What fucking story? See, Phenom, thank you. What's the payoff? What is the effing payoff? After this match at Dynasty, what does it do? You're telling me you did this within 2 weeks? 2 weeks. And what sort of a coincidence is it that they did it the week after Punk went on the MMA Hour? When peeps, how long have we known that they were going to be facing FTR?
Mm-hmm.
How long?
It's been just like that. They knew that this was going on when the tournament got started.
Oh, okay. But now you wanted to do it within 2 weeks of Dynasty after the MMA Hour. What a fucking coincidence. That's building a story? They didn't want to do it then. Why do it now? Oh, yeah, that's right, because they can't get CM Punk's dick out of their fucking mouths. That's the bullshit I'm talking about. And I'm sick and tired of people going ahead and say, oh, well, guess what? This is what it was for. This is what it was for. When it's obvious. It is in your face. Get your head out of your ass. It is right there. They did it out of spite. When me as a fan, all I want is for them to go ahead and grow. What growing is there if you're doing shit like that? Because all you did was make Punk look more reliable within a story, because the shit that he explained on the MMA Hour is the same shit that happened in that 1 minute video. Oh my gosh. Building a new elite with the Bucks, Okada, and Perry. What does Okada have to do with this? What the fuck does Okada have to do with this? Are you kidding me, Corey? Are you kidding me? Are you fucking kidding me? Okada! What does Okada have to do with this? The only thing Okada has to do with this is the fact that he was about to apply his finisher on Dynamite when the Bucks showed up. And what happened? All you saw was a zoom in on Okada while the whole crowd was chanting CM Punk. That is what he has to do with it. That? Really? What the fuck? You're kidding me. You know what? Before I wake up tomorrow with a sore throat and I can't speak, peeps, you take care of this, because I'm fucking sick and tired of this shit. I really am.
Trust me. I understand. And what I will do is I will try to round it out and then kind of drive the point home of you representing a huge amount of the fans that when in hearing this announcement, it was quite interesting that the announcement was made on Collision the weekend of WrestleMania. Saturday night. Now, we know that WrestleMania that weekend was going to be all WWE. And the pay-per-view having to be sold, you needed to have, I guess, in their mind, an extra angle to kind of sell this. My problem, and this goes to what you said, it's an insulting of the intelligence of the wrestling fan that cannot see how transparent this whole thing was. We know that the Bucks have always had issues with CM Punk. We knew this going back 2 years ago with the whole Brawl out stuff. We know all of the particulars, all of the people that were there, the constituents, the contestants in the game show, so to speak. So we all know the background. We also know that Tony Khan basically did not want to kind of upset the locker room as much as he could by separating the rosters as much as he can and giving CM Punk his own show to be a booker to kind of calm everybody down, where we can say, well, CM Punk, we've got this 2-hour show that we're putting on Saturdays. You're going to be part of this. And you have some idea of control as far as how it's going to be booked, et cetera, et cetera. And you know what? It worked because everybody was looking at Collision because Collision had really good matches and Collision was showing some kind of really high caliber, high quality in-ring work. And Collision, we were talking about Collision in some instances being better than Dynamite because of the input of CM Punk. Now, can you run a company where you have a disgruntled employee angry at the situation involved in the back, continue to be there and not have some kind of scat going on with a lot of strife and a lot of chaos and a lot of angst and a lot of turmoil? No, doesn't work that way. And it had a shelf life. So we're going to fast forward past all of that stuff. And we're going to go into what we talked about now as to why this was done. The number one reason why this was done was, I think, Tony Khan and the Young Bucks had some sort of trying to get some momentum to, one, sell the pay-per-view. Two, to try to take a little bit of steam and a little shine, a little bluster off of CM Punk's reputation going forward, basically because of that interview that Punk did with Ariel Helwani. Because what was the first thing that we saw after the situation? We saw the Edge interview where Adam Copeland came in, and I love professional wrestling, and there are some people that are disgruntled.
Peeps, even within that interview, you made Adam Copeland look like a bitch.
Yes, you made him. Yes.
Don't. Because why?
It would have, the interview would have held more gravitas if it was an actual AEW original that you would think, okay, it was John Moxley that said that, or it was Chris Jericho that said that, or if it was somebody like that. Adam Copeland just got in the company in October? So he's just been there, and to see him go out there and say, this is the most fun I've had in my life, and we're doing all of these things, and I love the guys. If that's the case, that's his opinion, I got no problem with that.
No, but the fact that they made it seem like a fact, and then they air that footage the next week.
Yes,
you just made nothing that he said valuable.
Yes.
What?
And here's where I'm going to actually prove how wrong, foresighted, and really myopic in the scope and focus of what these people did and the result of what happened. We've been talking over the last 3 or 4 weeks about AEW's ratings has really struggled. They did 800,000, a little over 800,000 for Mercedes Moné's debut. And that's roughly it. Everything has been 720, 740, 715, 730. They've been in that 7 or so range. And then what happened on Wednesday after this whole thing? They popped a little bit of a rating. They got it, 810, 815? 819. So they got a small bump. But then here's the thing. If the whole point of airing the footage was to kind of ham fist this into a storyline, that is the biggest lack of foresight I have ever seen. The reason why I say that is, why drum this up now? Here's where if they were going to use this footage, this is when they should have used it. The week after All In, after the company they calmed down with how angry they were with Jack Perry, and knowing all of the stuff that has happened, this should have built for Jack Perry to be the guy the week after. They waited 7.5 months to bring this up. And the only reason why they did this was to ham-fistedly add to a storyline. Makes zero sense at all. And it adds to the negativity that the AEW fan base has been getting from other people that look at AEW and wonder, why should I watch this product? I love watching AEW wrestling because the talent that they have in that company is top-notch. Remarkable. I talk about the matches that they have on pay-per-view, on Dynamite when they have those matches, especially on Collision. And I love the matches that they have. But for whatever reason, it's not connecting on a huger scale with the fan base as it once did. So what Tony Khan seems to be doing is he's pulling out checkpoints. Oh, well, this demographic worked, but this one didn't. So you kind of accentuate the positive and you kind of hide the negative. AEW has always been a new wrestling promotion that has garnered the interest of the wrestling fan. The problem is they do not book this product to be the antithesis of WWE. There are instances where they try to be like WWE, and in those aspects they fail. But Tony Khan's problem, and this is something that we've talked about ad nauseum, and I've had many rants on this before, is that he may be a nice guy, he may be a very personable person away from the business. But Tony Khan's problem seems to be he is too busy trying to be liked and not having that businessman acumen to show on TV that the fans and the product come first. To actually allow the Young Bucks to take footage that shows you this also will go to the extent, what I'm about to say will go to the extent of why this makes no sense, that even they had no interest in the long-term effectiveness. I went on YouTube an hour after they aired everything, because AEW has their own YouTube page. They showed, this is like an hour later, they showed the Young Bucks part of the promo. Then they went into the edit part, a hard edit, into the response that FTR had. Not a single drop of that footage was shown. And I wonder if either the legal team had something to say about it, or the thought process was, you're only going to see this footage on Dynamite and that's it. And if that was the case, they literally went and gave more eyeballs to the one person that they had on their roster that went to the competition and actually helped the competition get even better ratings and more mind share and more mainstream attention through social media and on television and through all of the different outlets that we all look and consume professional wrestling. They basically handed them free press. And this isn't one of those deals where Eric Bischoff would say controversy creates cash. That's not what this is. This comes across to me as embarrassment and hubris by a company that is still trying to get their sea legs together. And it's cyclical. Do I think AEW is going to fall apart and they're going to be done? No.
Of course
not. They're far from that. This is not, I don't think this is WCW in the latter stages of it.
This isn't 2000 WCW. It's not death to AEW. That's not what this is. This is just telling them, look, stop being tone deaf. Stop with the bullshittery. That's all we're asking.
Yes.
Because enough of this. Y'all out here making your wrestlers look like fools.
Yes.
Y'all not having the product being fully showcased because you wanted to take 20 to 30 minutes out of our time to not even further promote the product that we want to see, but you want to promote what? A person who's no longer in the company?
Exactly. That's what I'm trying to say. And that's the reason why the phenom that just put up that comment a little while ago, he said the exact same thing as what I said. What the hell is the payoff? If the payoff is to piss people off that paid money to see your product, as CM Punk said on his own Twitter page, mission accomplished. But if the whole point was to ham-fistedly add this to what you're doing in a storyline, it makes absolute no sense, especially if they were going to do this, they should have done this 6 months ago. They should have done that 7 months ago. They should have been able to turn someone into a star or a villain using that and then moving forward. But as we're sitting here right now, the four pillars of AEW that have held this company up, the pillars have all cracked. MJF is hurt. Sammy Guevara is suspended. Darby Allin, he's hurt. And of course, we now know Jack Perry is the scapegoat, wrestling for another promotion, the only one left that can wrestle right now, and they can't even showcase him on their own television waves. And to say that they were building this up over the span of 7 months to build that up, now, I think that's we can kind of put two and two together and figure that's what they're trying to do. That's not the issue. The problem is in doing so, you just highlighted to a lot of people the huge chasm of difference between WWE and AEW. And that's the last thing that you want if you are a company that has Mercedes Moné and Okada and Adam Copeland and Swerve and Samoa Joe and all of the great talent that's in that company that's there that they can be showcasing right now. And instead of both of us talking about that, instead of us talking about a week from Sunday, we're going to have one of the best main events that AEW has ever had between Swerve and Samoa Joe, and probably the single best pure wrestling match we will ever see this year between Bryan Danielson and Will Ospreay. And not once in this show have we talked about that. That should tell you right now what has happened with AEW's PR and what they've done and what they have prioritized over their airwaves. And if something like this does not get rectified soon, you're going to have a lot more fans turning their back on this product. I hope for their sake that small ratings pop led to something for them, but for my partner, for myself, and for a lot of other wrestling fans that watch this, this is like going to the zoo. Plain and simple.
Going to the zoo was your best analogy for this, peeps?
I'm being very, very cautious in my words.
It was the dumpster fire waiting to happen that immediately caught fire, peeps.
Oh, yes.
This is the fight at school once they immediately pull the fire alarm and we go out to see the effery.
Yes.
Peeps.
Yes. Your expressions say it all. And I understand because I'm right with you. And I understand fans like Corey and there are other fans that are out there that are diehard AEW fans. And we know what the process of why we know the reasoning as far as in practicality as what Tony Khan was doing for this. We know that this is going to at some point lead to an evolution of the elite on camera on TV. We know that that's what their end game is for that. But in a long-term end game of what the company is doing and how this looks makes the company look in general, right now, it makes them look so Bush League. It makes Tony Khan look very weak. And it also goes to show you from upper management on to certain wrestlers that one Charles Montgomery Punk is living rent-free in the Bucks and Tony Khan's mind. And it makes them itch a lot. And right now, the only real cure for this is to get past this and showcase the talent on your roster. The wrestling fans can forget if you give them something to replace those memories with. And by God, I hope that Dynasty does that. Because if it doesn't deliver, they're going to have some problems going forward. And that's as far as I'm going to go with that statement. Because right now, they box themselves into a huge corner and they're getting L's from a lot of different places. Yep. As I said before, this is coming from somebody that is a diehard AEW in-ring talent guy. I love the talent that's there, but I also recognize being able to call what I see. And what I see right now is a whole lot of scat.
Not wrong. Not wrong. Corey says this. He's like, if Jack Perry showed the footage, would it have been better for the story? I mean,
you want me to answer that one? I'll answer that one.
Please do.
They could have done this without the footage. They could have alluded to the footage. The footage was not necessary to get Jack Perry over because Jack Perry is already a pariah in the eyes of AEW fans. So the footage itself did nothing but show Tony Khan being weak, because if he, in his ultimate claim, when he decided on Dynamite, well, we had to get rid of CM Punk, and I feared for my life, et cetera, et cetera. The only thing you saw in that footage was Tony Khan's arm behind a monitor shooing people away. You saw CM Punk apparently cursing out Jack Perry. You saw the hands over the face of Chris Hero. You also saw Malachi Black walk in that video with a coffee cup in his hand.
You saw Hook standing there just looking
Hook
back and
stood
forth
there,
like,
looked like, what the heck did I just walk into? And of course, the voice of truth, the voice of peace was Samoa Joe. And the thing is, you can tell that Joe and Punk are really good friends because all Punk and Joe wanted to do was have their match. And you would have never known that if you watched the match at All In, you would have never known that what we saw in the back was something that happened going forward. And it's crazy. We've heard stories of other wrestlers in the back having far worse spats than this. We've heard of people getting knocked out and bloodied and having 5 and 6 and 7 people pull them apart. But this is childish. And if the whole point was that they were going to ham-fistedly put this in to further add heat to the Bucks while they're out there trying to be the Vince McMahon heels as EVPs, that footage was not needed. They could have done all of the things that they've been doing without the footage, and they would have still gotten over as heels. So my original statement, I'm going to be this, is the same thing that I've said, the same thing that the Phenom had pointed up in his comment. What was the payoff? And you ask yourself that over and over again. What was the payoff? And if you can go and look in the mirror and tell me that the payoff was worth all of this, outside of us wrestling fans talking about it, because I said this before, a lot of people, bad PR is good PR, depending on who you are. But based on what the wrestling fans got from WrestleMania, and they got SmackDown, they got the Hall of Fame, they got Stand and Deliver, they got WrestleMania Night 1, they got WrestleMania Night 2, and then they got Monday Night Raw. And in that entire weekend, we talked about everything positive that went through that. It was a love fest. It was kumbaya. It was hold hands, eat candy apples, drink Kool-Aid, and have fun. Where the complete antithesis of that is the absolute chaos and then the hurricane that came through, which was this.
Peeps. Here he goes. Yeah, I'm popping a vein today. I'm like, you're hell-bent on making me pop a vein today. Started way before the MMA Hour interview, so why didn't they show the footage then?
Mm-hmm.
If the whole case was him being a scapegoat, and he tore up that AEW contract, which would have been perfect
for when they would have done it. If they would have
to do it then, that would have worked. But no, Perry didn't do it, and he didn't do it then. The Bucks did it, and he did it after the MMA Hour. So again, what is your point, Corey? And to what Peeps is saying, to what the Phenom is saying, what is the payoff towards it? It wasn't Perry that did it. They did it. So what is the case in point here? Jesus Christ.
That should tell you all you really need to know is the fact that, as I said before, and this will be the last thing that I say about this, all you need to know is what they did on YouTube with their own video. And from what I have been hearing, a lot of other people have been pulling pieces of the footage and putting it on their social media, and it's been getting taken down.
Yup.
Almost like copyright stricken.
DCMA laws and all. Yup. Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Exactly.
So that tells me all I need to know as to why it was brought up. And if you're going to use legal footage that was being used for an investigation and then ham-fistedly add that into a storyline, Now, we understand we've seen storylines that kind of blur reality by using real footage of a certain incident to make it look like there's more than there isn't. This is completely different at all because the proponents that are involved, one, CM Punk isn't there anymore. And two, Jack Perry isn't even wrestling on your main television. And that is all I need to say about that aspect of it. Like I said, I understand where Corey is coming from in a storyline aspect, but all of the things that were there were not needed to make this storyline work. Because let's really be honest, the fans already hate the Bucks. The Bucks have done a great job of being heels. They've done that.
So
they brought in Okada in the fold to be part of the elite. And even more so, we already know what happened. So there was no reason to dredge all of this up. And the only thing that has happened here, it has further separated the fandom of AEW and those that either watched AEW or looked at AEW. They may be looking at them in a different light. Maybe they aren't. Maybe they're looking at it as like, you know what? I really like that. But if that was the case, and the biggest aspect of Wednesday was to sell that by showing the footage, why edit it out of the replay? Why edit it off of of your own YouTube channel?
You want to know why?
If the intent was for storyline purposes.
You want to know why? Because they defy the UK laws. What they went ahead and did is, as you said, ongoing UK investigation happened on British ground. And they used that footage or at the US. And now I'm hearing that that is literally against UK law. And
so
if Punk were to want to sue, he could sue.
So on top of all of this, they did this for storyline purposes, and they may still be in legal trouble over this. So I'm going to say this again.
I digress.
There you go. There's your digress. There's your 6-1 of the day. And my final comment on this, and it'll be the theme of this entire rant.
Send it home.
What was the payoff? Was it worth it? Because if it was worth it, look at the results. I think that's probably the most spirited we've done this show in about the 3 years we've been doing this show as a team. That's about the most spirited we've gotten. And it takes something like this. We gave you the complete antithesis of themselves, the yin and the yang. We gave you what the WWE gave us, and then juxtapose that with what AEW had done with how they handled the storyline. And you can tell the emotion is high on both sides, but on the complete opposite, different directions that they're going. And I think AEW is going to owe it to their fans to see that this pays off at eyeballs on their product, because right now it looks very, very bad for AEW.
You think? Peeps, you think?
And as you can tell, that's a rather sarcastic response, so we know where that's going.
Sarcastic. At least Peeps knows this is sarcastic.
Yes. Yes.
But wow.
Yeah.
2 hours of wrestling, ladies and gentlemen, to go ahead and cover you guys for same.
Yes.
We
got the good, the bad, and the ugly. There you go. All in one show.
High emphasis on ugly. Put it in all caps.
Yeah.
Good grief. But
look, yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages. With that being said, that marks the end of today's Same. We had a good time with you guys.
Yes.
We enjoyed all of it. Even though I'm literally probably about to lose my voice by tomorrow.
Yeah.
And Peeps is literally off of his scat, and he's like, you know what? Cool, I'm done.
Yes, yes.
But look, guys, next week, episode 12, we'll see if it can at least be a little bit more calm due to the fact that we would have the Worked Shoot Wrestling Podcast, Corey Richmond, on the show. So I look forward to seeing you next week, Corey. Although I'm telling you now, if you would like to want me to pop a vein, go ahead and keep your comments subtle. That's where I'll leave that. But guys, look, in the world of professional wrestling, where lines can be blurred now, things can be taken serious, people can go over the edge, And every so now and then, we get to get the emotional aspect of pro wrestling within our heart, our minds, and our souls. One thing is a constant factor. Us as a community is best for business. So look, guys, we appreciate you. We thank you. We'll see you guys next week. And it was on this very episode of Saturday Afternoon's Main Event that I, the Phenomenal One,
and I, the People's Snitch, where we came,
we saw,
and in the words of the Hall of Famer Paul Heyman, we conquered.
We conquered, ladies and gentlemen. See you next week. It's the Phenomenal One. Right beside me is the Peep Snitch. And this right here is the one, the only Saturday Afternoon's Main Event. So peace, love, farewell.